All right. I wanted to provide another update here. We're coming up on 3 weeks since I had that PRP injection in my right knee, and my last update I talked a little bit about how my knee's feeling, and I said, hey, I'm gonna go try hopping on my bike for the first time, right? And that I had a consult or follow up appointment with the doctor that did the injection as well. So I wanted to provide a status update on how those two things went, right? So I guess I'll start with the consult from the doctor. It was really generally pretty short. You know, he's saying, "Hey, how are you doing? How are things feeling?" And kind of the things that I mentioned as far as just there's a lot of stiffness and limited range of motion, and kind of once I started doing range of motion exercises, that things really tended to get a lot better. And that was really around like 1 week or so post procedure that I was able to really feel a little bit more comfortable walking around without crutches or anything like that. So his guidelines were that we would have a follow-up in person 6 weeks post procedure, and in that follow-up in person there would be an ultrasound that he would do, and the intent of the ultrasound would be to see if the tendons have healed or not. And so his guidance for between now and then was to focus on things like walking, and to focus on things like stretching, and to spend a little bit of time on the bike, a stationary bike. And his guidance was, hey, do about 15 minutes on the bike and break them up into 5-minute chunks. And so within those 5-minute chunks, do 4 minutes 30 seconds of just like a slow steady spin, and then for 30 seconds increase the cadence, and then go back for the next 4 minutes and 30 seconds to a slow steady spin, and then increase the cadence again, right? And it's basically guidance on saying, hey, zero resistance, right? You're in a place right now where the PRP, the intent of the PRP was to tell your knee and tell your body, hey, we need to heal this tendon and this tear. And so that's actively happening right now, right? And so I tried to ask him, like, oh, so like, what kind of power output should I focus on? What cadence should I be focusing on? And he's like, that's too much. You're overthinking it. That really you should just be focused on, like, you're brand new to even pedaling on a bike. Just go as easy and gently as possible, and just feel like you're going from a slower pace to a little bit faster pace, and that's it. Don't even like focus on the numbers, really. And so all of the training and everything that I've done, I have power meter pedals on my bikes outside, and I have obviously Smart Trainer where all these interval trainings are this many watts for this many minutes, and then a break, and so on and so forth. So have Strava account, all this stuff. So I'm very numbers focused, right? And so it's another kind of reality check to say, okay, I just need to listen to my body, I think, is probably the short and simple part, right? And so that was the guidance that he provided. And so I have done a series of indoor rides on my bike, at that 15 to 20 minute mark. The way that I have it set up is it's a erg trainer, right? So erg mode allows you to specify, hey, generate this amount of resistance, which is measured in watts. And so I've been hovering right around 40 watts as kind of my no resistance kind of spin, and been sticking to that real short time frame. So I would say that how I feel riding the bike is generally, doing that is generally pretty comfortable, really. I mean, it's I would say maybe the first couple of times that I've done it, and maybe I've been on the bike maybe 4 times since I've had that conversation with the doctor. And maybe the first couple of times there's like maybe a bit of stiffness, or almost like a sense of, when you feel like you want your I want to say pop your knee, but that's probably not the like, if you know that you bend your knee back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it cracks, almost like you're cracking your knuckles, the same thing you do with your knee. And there's that feeling of like, oh gosh, I need to crack it or pop it or whatever the right word is there, because it feels like that's what needs to happen. I think that there was a bit of that sensation when I was just, warming up on the bike, those first 5 minutes or something like that. But I would say the last time that I was on it was yesterday, 20 minutes. I don't think I really even had much of that sensation. So I feel like there's some progression there, and I'm really, really, really trying to focus on keeping things as gentle and as easy as possible, right? If I look back on, late last year, so from a timing standpoint, maybe 4 months ago, 3 months ago, I was going to physical therapy, right? And my doctor that physical therapist was saying similar things like, hey, spin on the bike, be focused on pain-free spinning, right? And I was still very much stuck in the mode of, I need exercise to survive. I need this cardiovascular exercise to feel good and to sleep good. I still believe those things. But at that moment in time, those moments in time, I was not willing to let that go. And so what I was doing on the bike trainer, for example, is, I'm going to do 130 watts of resistance. I'm going to do an hour-long ride. I'm going to do 130 watts. Oh, 130 watts feels okay. Oh, 150 watts. Oh, 170 watts, 180 watts, 200 watts, right? And for any sort of context, right? So my FTP at its best, maybe last summer or something like that would have been 260 or something like that. So, hey, that 200 watt output is like, okay, like a good healthy jogging pace, right? Like you're putting out, you're trying. And so as I was going through PT 3 months ago, and my the physical therapist was saying, hey, focus on pain-free, I was still putting out a decent amount of power, right? I was like, I still want to get exercise. I was kind of pushing it, right? Pushing the envelope a little bit. And so obviously hindsight's 2020, and there's part of me that thinks like, hey, 3 months ago, if I was doing what what I'm doing now, could I have just healed naturally? Maybe, right? Did I just prolong this process because I couldn't give up wanting to get exercise and wanting to go ride bikes with friends, or wanting to go ride bikes because the weather's good, or because I want to because I'm had a stressful day at work, or whatever. So that, obviously hindsight's 2020. So maybe, I spent all this money on a PRP injection, and at the very least, it's forced me to say like, okay, that was a really painful, uncomfortable experience. I don't want to do that again. So I'm gonna be super focused on my recovery, right? So anyway, that's just me kind of thinking out loud as far as just this whole adventure, and where I've been and the things that I've done, and the impact of my actions, and all of that stuff. So the concise thing to say here is, I've got about another month of going super duper easy, and then I get to meet up and get that follow-up ultrasound on my knee. I think that I can still generate a bit of discomfort on my knee. So here's an example of me not being super smart, right? So yesterday on the bike trainer, 15-20 minutes, super gentle, 40 watts, maybe 50 watts, like, okay, cool, I did my PT for the day. And then in the evening, the weather is decent for this time of year, and my kiddo is getting into riding his Strider bike, a balance bike. And so I went out with him for him to ride his Strider bike, and I was on my mountain bike. And so generally, right, I can ride real gentle, easiest gear, and I put like no pressure on or stress on my tendons, muscles, whatever. But I decided, hey, while he's using his Strider bike, I'm going to practice doing track stands, right? And track standing is like being able to balance in place on your bike, on your pedals, without moving, right? And that requires some muscle engagement to do that, right? So after I did that yesterday evening, my knee was like, "Hey, I'm not super happy right now," and it's kind of hard to describe the feeling, but I would say sore, uh, sore in like a dull discomfort kind of way, not like a sharp pain kind of way, right? So it's just really hard. It's just really hard for me to continue to be really focused on just being as gentle as possible. Walking around is generally comfortable for me. Mowing the lawn. I mow the lawn, and that's comfortable for me. Um, Going up and down stairs. I think I previously mentioned walking downstairs. There'd be like some cramping in my quad, really light kind of cramping in my quad. Not really feeling that as much anymore, which is good. And in general, right, where my knee was kind of pre-injection and when I still had some, I couldn't ride my bike because it was sore and all this stuff, uh, going up or downstairs could generate some pain in my knee. And when I'm stepping up and down stairs like that, right, and there's some, parallels there to like when you're riding a bike and you're the amount that it's hard to describe, right? But the amount that you're bending your knee and then pushing down from there, right? I mean, there's similarities to when you're going up a step and you're bending your knee a little bit more and engaging your muscle to step upstairs, right? So that's where I am today. I think that things are progressing. It's crazy to think that just a few short weeks ago I couldn't walk around at all, and I was kind of bedridden and mildly depressed. So I would say things are trending in the right direction. I'm trying to trust the process. I have to continually remind myself to remain focused on the process and not to push things too much. Doing a little bit of stuff on the spin bike, doing some walking, doing some stretching. I might try and look at doing like some core strength exercises via like the Peloton app or something like that. Doing some sort of strength training or exercises and other muscle groups that doesn't affect the quad tendon there, just to do something physically active anyway. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's my update. Hoping things continue to progress here, and we'll be sure to provide updates here over time. Cool. Thank you.